I've mentioned that the last like 10, or maybe a little bit more chapters of Seven Deadly Sins have been pretty enjoyable, pretty fun, really nicely set up this kind of final battle. But it's weird because of the chapters that I wasn't excited for, I actually ended up enjoying in this Escanor chapter, which I was excited for, I ended up not really liking. But I don't know. I was hoping more for just his origin, him as a kid, and like this chapter really just kind of gave us a TLDR of him and his kingdom because we didn't get to find out a lot about his kingdom. Them kicking him out, banishing him. We just got like the end of it, and then him meeting up with the seven deadly sins, which you really could have just put near the end. I think it would have been way better to see him as a kid and then get kicked out and then meeting the sins and having it much shorter. But that wasn't the concern. That wasn't the problem that I had with this. The problem that I had with this is, you introduce Escanor. I really liked the first part. I liked the color page opening with him as a little kid. He's talking to that girl Rosa. You got a really nice spread with him and the other sins. It started out as a pretty cool part where they're reading off all the crimes he's committed, including hurting the Great Holy Knight Zaratras. We remember being a big deal. He was pretty powerful, which doesn't really matter too much, like in the long scheme of things, because in reality, he wasn't very strong compared to all these other big characters. But it still was very intimidating for everyone in the room, the level of holy knights they had. And then it shows Escanor, who is his knight version, who's this tiny little guy. And I like that. I thought that was amusing, just because you get this guy all hyped up how dangerous he is, and then he's a scrawny weakling that looks like he could barely hold up the shackles that he's got on. Then Meliodas takes him. There's a nice little meeting of the other sins of just trying to like figure out what the deal is with Escanor, why he's joined the team, what's special about him, because they're all just like, he's a normal human. What exactly is the reason we're taking him on? And there he's talking about his curse. He meets Merlin. He's very happy about that. We know that the reason he likes Merlin so much, just off the base sense of things, is because she looks like Rosa, who was the woman that betrayed her kingdom in order to save him because he was a prince of this now destroyed established empire, this kingdom. And once they kicked him out, it was a shame they kicked him out, because really, if they just kept him, all it would have really taken is like wait for because I think they got like taken out by like savages or barbarians. They just kept Escanor around and just put him up the front line. Didn't even really need an army, and he would have just taken out all those guys during the day and swept that sword. Well, not sword, axe, or his hand. Well, he didn't have his axe at the time. I mean, really could have just flexed at him and he killed him. But I mean, that was all nice. I like the story of where he came from, the sacrifice of the woman that helped him, and how that relates to Merlin. And when they're talking about like all their powers and stuff, and they're trying to figure out what he does, he says that his is poetry and writing. And then it seems much more silly. It seems much more like an awkward thing he's trying to put out, because then afterwards he wants to leave. He doesn't want to expose them to his what he calls his curse, which we know is the sunshine power. Him becoming the sunshine boosted Escanor at the night periods. And I I will say, like, I thought it was pretty amusing, those first moments, because like he's like, don't take another step, while he's talking to Meliodas. Because Meliodas wants to have a fight with the Sunshine Escanor, wants to see what the big deal is, wants to see if he's as powerful as people made him out to be. And then he takes like one more, he kind of like chuckles and takes one more step, and then after that, Escanor just kind of blocks him, sends him right through, smashes him in a bond. Bond just like splatters on the wall. That was a normal dude. He just would have died right there. But there he is. The standard Escanor kind of like buffs, because we have Escanor Night, and then we have Escanor Day. Is the just kind of plain muscle one, much larger one at the 11:30, and then obviously at noon we have the one. But he runs away. He's nervous. He doesn't want anyone to get hurt or be afraid of him from this, and he just starts punching a mountain for hours until it ends up in this kind of like dwindled down state. I really like this panel. Because I thought it was gonna be like one punch takes out the whole mountain. It would have been like, damn, that was pretty cool. Pretty impressive thing. I liked this actually. I think more just because it's just like a weird landscape thing. You'd probably like walk across this and be like, what the hell happened here? what was the cause of this? This is you can see, you wouldn't be able to figure out like what natural disaster caused it. It would be really confusing. You would guess some angel buffed nerdy dude decided to come take out frustrations against it. Though I feel like his physical strength honestly should have punched it and then blown the mountain away. But oh whatever. Here he is talking to Merlin. He thinks he should have died. He thinks that his curse is too much for him and too much of a burden on others. But obviously, with the seven deadly sins, they're all in some way not really cursed, but they're all seen as monsters in one aspect or another, and it's not a big deal to him. So Meliodas ends up challenging him, says he'll fight him, and if he wins, then Escanor has to say it in the seven deadly sins, and if he loses, and if Meliodas loses, then Escanor can do what he wants. This is where I had a huge problem. Up until this point, I was liking it. I was liking the character interactions. I was liking the setup of the story. I liked that Escanor didn't want to get people near his buffed version because he was afraid of what might happen to them. I like Escanor. As I've said before, Escanor is my favorite sin. He's got the best design in my opinion. He's got a really cool power. I think I really like that his time skip addition was just a mustache, and from that when you like look at a lot of his character, a lot of people I think just talked about him, being a badass, but then we got the chapter where he decided to guard people against that baby Endura, even though he was weaker than a normal human at that point. But he wanted to live up to live up to his position because he was still a knight. He still had a duty to protect people even if it meant he died. And even when he thought he was gonna die, like he didn't falter. He was staying doing it, which I liked. Then here's him in the one. He enters the one state and goes against Meliodas. Now, this was where my problems 100% have risen. Because Meliodas, when it comes to fighting, I'm not a fan of him. Same thing with King. I don't really like King. I don't really like Merlin because like Merlin just decides to pull out new spells out of her ass, and he's completely destroyed consistency of power levels within the series, which was good at the start. The series, when it established power levels at the beginning, was pretty consistent, and that Merlin just decided, screw that. I just can pull up any weird spell I want. But the one Escanor, he beat Zaldris. He completely crushed Meliodas. Even the 1131 beat Estarossa. The straight noon one demolished the critical over Gallon. Like he's very powerful in that state. And the one is his ultimate state. And Meliodas beat him. And not just Meliodas beat him. Meliodas went into assault mode and one-shot him. Which I don't understand how that's the case. Like if him first off, we know that we saw him fight Assault Mode Meliodas not too long ago, which you can argue maybe Escanor got stronger in that amount of time. But really, like, what would push Escanor to become more powerful? And really, like, what amount does he get stronger? Does the one move from being able to not even stand up from one attack from Assault Mode Meliodas? Not a spell, not even Lost Vein, not even some crazy big ability. Literally just a punch to completely one-shotting Lost Vein holding Meliodas. Because one of the things that is established in the series, you have a weapon, you have a proper conduit for your powers, especially one that has powers of its own. You're automatically stronger, and I mean, his broken sword, it still can function like a sword, but it's obviously not the same as Lost Vein. It's just so silly. The fact that Meliodas, I think personally, it really hurt the series in a lot of large scale areas because of the fact that he just completely runs through everyone and he just one shots. And the fact that he had assault mode, he could just pop it. So then why didn't he use it against when he fought the Ten Commandments before he quote unquote died, and then we found out his immortality. Like he should have popped it and had absolutely zero trouble one-shotting every single member of them that were there because he got his power back already. He got his power back from the druids, so there should have been no issue with him getting and just dropping assault mode. Because if the 1130 Escanor could completely demolish Estarossa, then what's the issue with him going to assault mode? Because then if assault mode could destroy the one, then he should have absolutely zero difficulty like running through the entirety of the Ten Commandments. It's the consistency of the series is what's really been bugging me. As in this arc, in like the third arc, the Holy War, just because it's fallen so heavily. Like the writer doesn't carry Mornikaba. I don't know what's going on with him. I think it's a little silly. I mean, when you not even like when you have like a bunch of characters, you might lose power level, kind of like consistency at some point. But when you literally have one character, one character of the main cast who specifically has a power up, or in that power up, he has 1 minute of the day where he's absurdly powerful. He's supposed to be a big deal. Or right now he's swapping blows with the Demon King dead on, and he gets one shot by Meliodas. He's completely just gets demolished. It wasn't like he enters assault mode, they fight, and then Meliodas manages to come out on top. And it could be like, oh, because of Meliodas' immortality, he's able to win in the end. And you're able to kind of like think of a way for him to pull out victorious. It's the fact that he literally just one shot him. He one shot him with a punch. It was just it was dumb to me. I can't believe that. It was such a stupid thing to put in the series, and it just further like makes me annoyed about Meliodas. The fact that he just gets to one shot everybody and run through every character he fights, and it's dumb. And you have one guy who has this power, that's the one, and yet it's not able to really is not able to even keep consistency with that. Luckily, the chapter ended on like a good character note, where Escanor was talking to the ghost of Rosa. They're in the kingdom of the dead, and she just kind of talked to him about him being lonely and being with the now he's got some crew. He's pretty happy. It looks like it's more that's like looking at it that it was because he was unconscious and in the state of that near death after getting one shot by Meliodas, and the weaker Escanor is over there talking to her while they're carrying him back to wherever they're going, back to their base, or even just like him having a fever dream or something. The next chapter is called the Ultimate One, so we're gonna see that powered up version of Escanor, and obviously I know people are like there are people like upset about like him having something beyond the one where it's supposed to be like his ultimate state is his last minute before he starts decreasing. It's fine because it looks like it's gonna be his last stand. We know he's gonna die after this because his body can't take the power anymore. So like it's just going out. Like he should be fine with it, and it's not like he's gonna be the one to defeat the Demon King. He's gonna do something and then make it so no, I'm keep messing up names. He's gonna make it so Meliodas can actually finish. But other than that, comment below. Like I said, this chapter really bothered the hell out of me. I mean, I can believe that he lost to Meliodas because we know Meliodas was like hiding his power, all his like 8 to 9 power ups that he's been hiding all along, secret superpowers that he could have used to one shot any of the characters he fought in the series so far, but didn't just because it's the fact that it was such a casual thing to the one character that he shouldn't be able to do that to, being the one. I mean, he had assault mode, Lost Vein boosted, and like he didn't even scratch the one, and then the one just one shot him. I don't know. I think it was dumb. Anyway, thumbs up the video, press the like button, and subscribe button, and check out my other videos. From that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and thank you all for listening. Bye.